18. At the top of this bulletin, the Indian cricket team unhappy with after-practice food in Sydney. Her team India did not do practice sessions, allegedly, as it was offered a practice venue in Blacktown, that's in the suburbs of Sydney. They refused because that is 42 kilometers away from the hotel where they are staying at. This is what BCCI sources are telling us. Now, we found out that after practice, the team was offered cold sandwiches, falafel and fruits. This in direct opposition to the hot meals that they are usually served. Now, when it comes to bilateral matches of this sort, the host association is the one that provides the food. And there's also controversy that the practice venue is 42 kilometers away from the hotel, and which is why the team has allegedly skipped practice. So Team India, they're unhappy with the venue and unhappy with the food is what we're hearing. This is the latest coming in. The T20 World Cup is underway and ICC is arranging the food for the T20 World Cup. And but it's Australia that is responsible for the culinary requirements of the Indian team. Vimal Kumar, our senior sports journalist, is live with us. Vimal, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Vimal, what else are we hearing? Because we're told it is not a boycott, is what reports are saying, that the Indian team is just used to hot food after their practice matches because these are grueling sessions. And this has been a curious oversight on part of Australia, which of course has very successfully hosted India previously.
I think there is a bit of confusion. I must clarify to all the viewers who are watching the CNN News 18 right now. See, Indian team were unhappy with the food which was given to them yesterday at lunch when they had a full-fledged practice session at the Sydney cricket ground where I am standing right now. So Indian team spent almost 2.5 hours. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, everyone practiced, and this is the tradition all over the world. Once you finish your practice session, you get your lunch in the stadium. Good lunch normally, and even the press people, we also get the lunch. Normally it's the Indian dishes or whatever the players prefer, but here strangely it wasn't there. It was like sandwich and make your own sandwich, falafel and all those stuff. Players were obviously hungry because they had a practice session from 10:30 to 12:30, and they were expecting that, as is the norm. So obviously players were unhappy. They did go to their hotel room respectively and they had their lunch and they protested about that. They spoke to their team management and the Indian team management conveyed it to the ICC officials. This is not done. That part is perfectly fine. In fact, that was also, we asked the same thing to Paras Mahamre, Indian bowling coach, who just finished his press conference today, just 1 hour back. He also did not want to elaborate. He said that yes, there were issues, but it is left to the team management and they have conveyed their whatever the matter was. But the second point, which is being said, that Indian team in protest, they decided to boycott the second practice day, which is today, because it's 42 kilometers away from the hotel. That is not correct, because when the schedule was met 2 months back, it was decided that the Indian team practice will be there. Because right now, in front of me, the ICC guys are, the South African team is practicing, the Bangladesh team is practicing, the Netherlands team is practicing. So there are only 1 or 2 places where all these three teams are back-to-back practicing. Indian team had a full-fledged practice session yesterday where no team was there. So we need to understand that, and the BCCI media manager had clearly yesterday told us that tomorrow, that is like today there was no any practice session. So mixing these two issues, I think, is slightly unfair and confusing people. The thing is that yes, Indian team were unhappy with the food arrangement yesterday, and obviously they are also unhappy, little bit unhappy with the hotel in Melbourne, which was a 4-star hotel. Normally they stay in a 5-star hotel whenever they tour Australia because there's a bilateral fee. But since we all have to understand that it is an ICC tournament where so many teams are there, so the arrangements are being done not just keeping India's demands in mind, but all things keeping in mind.
Vimal, if you would clarify about the practice venue, this is apparently 42 kilometers away from the hotel. Was the session scheduled for today? You said yesterday they were practicing. Was a practice session scheduled for today that the Indian team missed for whatever reason?
No. It wasn't scheduled. I must tell you, the moment the Indian team landed in Sydney, it was decided that they will have an optional practice session, which was yesterday. They had an optional practice session, and yesterday, the moment the yesterday practice session got over, we wanted to ask whether there is a full-fledged practice session. Team India said clearly, no, there is no practice session. Team is taking rest because it's a traveling day. They had a high-profile match, and it's a Netherlands where the player needs time to recuperate. So there is no connection between Indian teams being upset over food and then boycotting the practice venue, which is 42 kilometers away from their team hotel. There is no link. This practice venue was decided by ICC 2 months back. It was conveyed to Indian team, and maybe at that point of time they decided that it is not worth it. And as I told you, since there are logistical issues, there are only just one practice area in SCG where right now South African team is practicing. So there is no point you can accommodate 4 teams because South Africa and Bangladesh are also playing. South Africa and Bangladesh are also playing the first game, and India is playing the second game. So they need to be flexible with the timings of the practice game, and that's why Indian team's practice was scheduled. It was Indian team's choice. They decided, no, we will not go that far away. It's not worth it. In any case, just before the match game, it is an optional practice session. Over the last few years, I have been covering with the Indian team. The day before the match is not the full practice session. It's normally optional practice session. Most of these players, they don't turn up. So that's why we had a full-fledged session by Virat Kohli yesterday, Rohit Sharma, everyone else.
Thank you very much, Vimal. That's Vimal there joining us.